Today's
All right. Hey guys, welcome to Anichat. With me today, I have Gil
supposedly.
and I have Ruckus, and of
Hello.
course it is myself, still commandeering the powers of Yandere.
I don't have my
So,
laptop back, folks, so
Rip.
today I figured since the first Final Fantasy game was released about a week ago, about a week and a half, 30 years ago, I figured we'd have a Final Fantasy themed episode to commemorate 30 years of Final Fantasy and how it has influenced nerd culture. So I guess our first question would be, what's everyone's favorite Final Fantasy game?
Golden Sun.
I mean,
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, that's my hero fantasy
It,
game.
it, interesting factoid though. For people who are fans of the Xenoblade uh, games, Xenoblade actually started out as a Final Fantasy game,
oh,
or like in development, and they deemed it, Square deemed it too, well, in layman's terms, it was too edgy for Final Fantasy.
okay,
So they made they called it a different name, which was Xeno Gears. They
okay.
made its own franchise, and then
This sounds
and then
familiar.
after that, one of the one of the directors left Square,
Okay,
and they opened up their a new company, and partnered up with Namco, and then he made Xeno Saga, which
okay,
was like another franchise, and then when Nintendo bought uh, some Namco shares, they got the rights to Xenosaga, and then they just like, let's make another franchise with this, uh, with the Xeno name or whatever, and that's how Xenoblade was conceived. So Xeno Xenoblade is just low key Final Fantasy. Stay woke, everybody.
I mean, bit of a
I
stretch, but okay.
I was low key expecting a
Oh,
Xenoverse joke in there somewhere. Oh, give me a second.
Okay. I'm gonna go that my favorite Final Fantasy game is um, well, I have to say that it's Final Fantasy X, but I think the best Final Fantasy game is Bravely Default.
I'd I'd have to go with, I want to say 15,
The game's a good choice.
because
Completely understand.
I haven't played I haven't played all of the Final Fantasy games, and the ones I have played, I don't remember as much, with the exception of 7,
Okay,
but I'm not a huge fan of 7.
reasonable. I personally think that seven is a little overrated myself. Like, it's still good, but when you put it like this, I think that both eight and six are better games than seven is.
I think 6 is better than 7 too.
That's because six is low key just better than seven, guys. Stay woke. Um, but
Uh,
um, the me saying that eight is a better game than seven, that's an unpopular opinion. Junctioning isn't hard, guys. Stay woke. I mean, granted, materia is easier, but yeah. Um, yeah. I I have to give the title of probably the best Final Fantasy game to Bravely Default, just because of I think that what it's trying to do is very ambitious, and it's very telling at how successful the game was as to its quality.
What's happening?
Like, it's
Oh,
uh,
sorry, I had to do something. What's happening? We talked about
oh, we're still just talking about Final Fantasy games.
which one though?
I am. fanboying over how good Bravely Default is, even though Final Fantasy X is my favorite.
I wish Bravely Default would go down in price. Oh, okay.
Really good. Um, I think the fact that, retro throwback RPG made by a major studio was well received and super successful is pretty telling at just how good the game is and really how iconic a lot of Final Fantasy themes and the traditional gameplay is. I know we're in like the middle of a sort of video game throwback indie sort of renaissance right now. With games like Rogue Legacy, I don't know, Shovel Knight, yeah, games like that, and the sort of sprite-based, basically straight sprite-based games are coming back with a vengeance. So
Rest in Golden Sun.
uh, Golden Sun needs a Golden Sun needs to be on Nintendo Virtual Console, all three games,
I think the first
one package, for like $10, and then they need to promote the crap out of that because last we heard they threw an axe in its back and buried it while it was still breathing in the backyard, and then they're like, nope, we've never heard of this game.
That sounds like Final Fantasy throwing axes in people's backs. Like,
Like
honestly.
Nintendo's.
Oh dear.
Uh, yeah, I had a situation just happen, so I don't know where we're at in this conversation.
I did
Oh,
too. So
um,
I came back amid Bravely Default. That's actually really ironic, Alec. But it's okay. The fans heard, so it's all good.
I mean, Bravely Default is just a Final Fantasy spin-off game, so it totally counts.
Uh,
What all I have to say about Bravely Default is I wish it didn't cost $50 for the first game. Still pre-owned. I want to kill someone. I would buy it if
Even
it
though
were.
the game came out in like 2014,
Yeah,
maybe early 2015. I'm gonna look it up.
like the second one's cheaper than the first one last time I checked at a store I went to, and I'm just like, why?
Um, no, it didn't come out. Well, maybe in Japan. I don't know where, because there was like at least a year. Uh, yeah. Bravely Default came out in the States February 7th, 2014.
I haven't played it. In fact, I don't even think I've heard of it because that's how much I pay attention to Square games.
It's really good. I recommend it.
It's handheld. Uh,
I'm sure it is.
it's like in the
Like,
World of Light, isn't it? Like that timeline or something.
I didn't quite catch what you said there.
Is it? I'm trying to remember. It's from the timeline of the Four Warriors of Light or whatever. I can't recall.
It's a spin-off of what was it? Um, yeah, it's a spin-off of Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So yeah, like it's a Final Fantasy game. It just doesn't have Final Fantasy in the name. Is really what it comes down to.
Um, yeah, like every time I get excited for something that Square's making, they take like 10 years to come out with it. So,
Well, yeah, that's Square. um, yeah,
so I don't keep up with Rare that much. I'm not Rare. Whoa, Square.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I know I like the Final Fantasy franchise, but I'm not a huge fan of it per se.
I I understand. I mean, I was probably a bigger fan when I was in high school and had more free time. But I mean, I still play Final Fantasy games. You know, albeit the last one I beat was probably replaying Final Fantasy 13. Even though I have 15, I just haven't beaten it. Which I really should. Good.
I, I think the issue with me is that growing up as a kid, my first console was was the Nintendo 64, and
Yeah.
that's when Square kind of separated from Nintendo and moved on to
Sony.
PlayStation to
Yeah.
Sony, and so I usually had Nintendo consoles more often than I did
Yep.
Sony consoles.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't really have access to like a lot of the main Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, to add my history into this, for me, I didn't own a 64. I didn't know. I actually never wanted a Nintendo console in my life. Um, ever. I wanted the PS2, which is what I got much later, because I was like 9, I think.
Mhm.
Basically, I think I had already started watching anime when I got my console, and there's a story for that. But anyways, the stuff I played on the 64, which I played at my uncle's house, because he had one, was Mario Kart and Mario 64, back when I used to like Mario. And at that same uncle's house, I played the first Final Fantasy game I ever played, which was Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus.
Mhm.
That was the first game I ever played for Final Fantasy, and I was so confused. So absolutely confused. I played for like an hour,
Yep.
and I was just like, huh. And I never played a Final Fantasy game again for like 5 years.
Okay.
I got 13 because it was like $8. And I was just like, oh, this looks fun, so it was fun. And then um, I had a PS3, and then I had to transfer PS3s, and I had to restart. I transfer PS3s again, so I had to restart again. And on my third attempt to beat 13, but I've just played so much of the beginning over and over again that I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
So, which is actually the problem I'm having with a lot of my PS3 games, because since I've had to transfer them multiple times, I really don't feel like playing them all over again because I want to die every time I start up my PS3.
Okay.
Um, I the reason I attempted to play Sturgis Cerberus was because I had Kingdom Hearts 2, and I was just like, hey, yo, those Final Fantasy characters look pretty cool, yo.
Yep.
That's like the reason why. Like, otherwise I probably would have never played a Final Fantasy game from Kingdom Hearts, because Kingdom Hearts is more accessible, in my opinion at least. And well, it wasn't turn-based, which was a real turn-off for me as a kid because I hated turn-based stuff. If it was
Mhm.
like, okay, let me rephrase that. I hate turn-based stuff that wasn't on handheld. If it was on handheld, I was fine with it, but if it was on like a console, I wanted it. Because on a console, I wanted, less restrictions.
I usually the only turn-based franchise that I've ever like enjoyed was Pokemon. Um,
Reasonable.
Mm.
I mean,
I played I played other turn-based games and have liked them, but I think
uh,
Pokemon is the only franchise where I'd prefer it to be turn-based.
well, yeah. I don't honestly think that Pokemon would be fun if it wasn't turn-based.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I do think the BS
Yeah,
levels in Pokemon go up.
to do that you want them to do. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Pokemon would actually be less BS if it was hack and slash, because then you could dodge those stupid status ailments. Mystery with that paralyze. Could you like legit imagine if it was a hack and slash free movement and the paralyze legitimately halved your speed?
Rip.
So you could just
That
like
would be fantastic.
it like Pokemon as a hack and slash would be like the most cancerous thing. Like,
Yeah,
my argument for
Pokemon Warriors coming out 2019. Make
knowing
it happen,
well,
Nintendo,
Nintendo.
fetish right now, and I'm just like, why?
Nintendo probably would do it, but I think they'd have to market their wife. Like, watch it be like all the female trainers and just like no male trainers available to be played in the game.
Okay, listen. Nintendo isn't all about waifus now, right?
That's a lie. Why are you lying to me?
I
Nintendo told
remember an
Nintendo.
interview Reggie had of I forgot where it was, but one of the girls, it was like on a news station, and one of the girls was like, it's like Link is really hot. This is back when Breath of the Wild was being promoted, and he was like, yeah, Link is really hot. That's like all he said about that. Get
Oh,
Breath of the Wild because Link is hot.
I mean, let's be real here. Reggie is actually just a meme, though.
yeah, he is.
I mean, it's fantastic, but that man is just a meme.
Like anything he says will be converted into a meme. Just give like the people who watch the Nintendo streams 5 seconds. They'll
Yep.
make memes in real time of Reggie.
Yep.
It's pretty bad. It's funny, but it's pretty bad.
My
Uh,
favorite is people doing uh, the face overlay combination things between Gabe Newell and Reggie.
oh God, those monstrosity memes that are like if they have the white backgrounds, it's just their faces overlapping.
You know what's funny? Uh, there was a game that recently came out called Brawlout on the Nintendo Switch,
Hmm.
and essentially what it is it's basically Smash Bros. I guess with like original characters and everything, and maps and stuff.
Okay.
But the combat system is basically just Smash.
Is it the one with the frog?
Okay.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, I think I've actually played that before. So
And
yeah,
uh
continue.
and they showed like a whole bunch of like tech stuff you can do. That's like known to for Smash players to do in like melee and stuff. So when that came out, everybody in the comments section of that video was like, "Smash 5 looks amazing." It's like, and it's sad too because we don't have Smash on the Switch yet. So anybody who wants to play Smash on the Switch, that's like your best option right there.
This is why people played Injustice 2. Justice 2 got Fighting Game of the Year, folks. Stay woke.
Injustice 2 is a very good game.
Yeah, that's why it got like nines across the board. People didn't even have to wank it. They're just like, wow, this is really good. That was, which is nice because the only downside to it is like some of the character models look nasty, but that's that seems to be a problem with modern games, honestly, where they're trying to make everything really realistic, and then they do excellent, and other times they just fail horribly.
It's kind of like back when that like when 3D gaming was just becoming big,
Mhm.
Hmm.
like on the N64 and everything.
Can we talk about
And like
Cloud's original design? His like
and you
actual
have like these like boxy looking characters.
yeah. Oh, Cloud. Like when I first, because I have like some old magazines, and I saw what Cloud looked like in the promotional material because they showed like gameplay images, and I'm just like, you know, someone back in the day looked at that and said that looked amazing. And like,
I mean, Mario was like he was really like a square with like circles for arms
yeah, I played the original Mario game actually. It's less
because
trolling than new ones.
I'm talking about for 64 because they didn't, since it was the first Mario game, they didn't know how to do like the modeling for Mario, so they just put like random shapes to make a human body.
And then they had the Stretch Armstrong Mario face mini game at the opening thing.
Hmm.
Oh,
Well,
Nintendo.
the history of video games is so funny because like they got really good at pixel art, and then they're like, "Hey, you know what we should stop doing? Pixel art."
Yeah.
Every time video games get really good at something, they're just like, "We shouldn't do that." Hey, remember how we got really good at making full games without 10,000 pieces of DLC? Yeah,
It's
we should we should
video
just
game
make.
video games is really interesting, but because you can actually see like the progression of from like when they first started to like where we are now,
Yeah,
Yes.
where which like stuff like comics and manga, you can still see it, but it's not as
the transition for comics and manga was a lot smoother because,
yeah.
um, like in the 2000s, for video games, if you go back and play them, the graphics make me wanna like kill myself sometimes. But for anime, it's like stiff because in like the 2000s they were switching from hand drawn to computer.
Yeah,
So and for video games they were switching from pixels to 3D CG.
polygons.
Yeah, polygons stuff. So it's like the transition for into like for anime was just like real smooth, right? It was like a little bit of a rough start, but it got, real smooth after the hand drawing stopped, and now look at it. Whereas with video games, it has this thing where it's just like, huh, we should try something new with graphics, and either it's groundbreaking or disgustingly horrifying to look at. Um, and because of this, lots of video games are just like, well, I guess we just have to remake it because no one's gonna want to buy our butt ugly game on a 4K television.
Resident Evil.
Which is why uh, lots of companies are just like Crash Bandicoot remaster, just completely redid it, right?
I
Um,
I feel like this is why Nintendo chooses to have their games have a more cell
stylized.
shaded and cartoony
Hmm.
Well,
because
a lot
it's
better.
easier
I mean,
to make them HD later on than to just like if they made the graphics realistic, then later on they would have to do like a complete overhaul on them because
well,
to just like
like put it like this: you can go drag out a GameCube, pop in uh, frickin' Wind Waker, and the game doesn't look hideous, even though it came out like 100 years ago.
Ah,
you said for GameCube.
yeah.
Oh, Wind Waker.
I think generally all the games on the GameCube
Yeah, that was just the
still look
example.
good because they weren't realistic graphics.
I hate
Yeah,
A
the
that
lot
was,
of them.
GameCube. Oh my goodness.
ugh.
Every time I say I hate the
Even
GameCube, a hardcore fanboy dies inside.
I think the most
Ooh. Oh God.
Don't die.
today.
So I was playing with my mic while Lucas cut out and Nickelback started playing.
What
The-
song?
It was Rockstar by Nickelback.
Nice.
That's why I was like, oh God. Oh, by the way, Lucas, you cut out for like your entire point. Oop. Well, that's a little bit worse than cutting out. Um, so can you hear me, Alex?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, Lucas, you're back.
My internet died for a second.
Yeah, you cut out the entirety of you talking. Anyways, I was saying, I think the last thing you heard me say was Every time I say I hate the GameCube, people die inside.
Uh, oh, basically, what I said, like, if you the most realistic game on the GameCube, like the most realistic Nintendo IP on the GameCube, I I would say it would be Metroid Prime. And if you go back and play that now, it doesn't even look that bad.
Wait,
Well,
didn't Twilight Princess come
that's
out on the?
when people actually play Metroid games.
Didn't Twilight Princess come out on the GameCube first?
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Okay.
Um.
Oh, I need to go play through
Like,
it now. Go through it.
at this point, I'm convinced that people don't play Metroid; they just play internet hacks of Super Metroid.
Supposedly, Nintendo's response to that fan-made Metroid game is really good, but I'm just like, oh god, I don't want to play Metroid. I'd rather just watch play Mega Man. I'm not gonna
I,
lie. I'd just rather
And
play Mega Man.
although it's interesting because there are people who don't like the Prime series, but they just prefer the 2D side-scrolling Metroid games, and then there are people who prefer the first-person shooting Metroid games. So it's like two fan bases and one fan base.
yes,
Nintendo's been having a hard time satisfying both of them. A really hard time, which is why they came out with two new ones.
Oh, that's why they made Metroid Other M, which kind of like tried to combine the two styles.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "I hate this game."
I heard
It-
also that Samus gets like a boyfriend in that game, and it's just like, why?
yeah,
But
people don't like the direction they took Samus's character in that game.
rip the other M.
Other M was a mistake.
You know, in Nintendo's eyes, it probably was. I like how just talk about gaming companies will be like, hey, you like this character? And then, and then people are like, yeah, I like this character. And it's like, how much will you pay to see this character in a bathing suit? And then they release like swimsuit DLC, and you're like, oh, so cool. So like, I'll give an example. Let's say it's Street Fighter. It's like, so you got Chun Li in a bathing suit. So like, where's Ryu? In his trunks. There's no Ryu.
just radio silence.
Yeah, it's just like, you want to Chun Li, right? And he's like, yeah, but I kind of want to play, Ryu in swimming trunks. And they're like, just nothing.
Yeah.
So we gave you a secondary Chun Li bathing suit. The fan base is like, what?
So I know we're on the topic of video game companies,
Yeah.
but that reminds me. Remember when Marvel was so desperate in like the '90s that they started like calendars and stuff?
Yes.
Good times.
Like you can diss DC all you want, but at least they never did swimsuit pinups
to
of
to be
Marvel.
fair, Marvel was in a much more worse situation in the '90s.
Well, yeah,
Also,
What?
I'll give credit where credit is due. Uh, they weren't really picky. They did both genders, so
Yeah, they did.
can't
It's just
complain
that
that much.
it's just that in the '90s, dudes were so ugly in comics, low key. Like the I don't know what was happening in the '90s, but like the concept of Pretty Boy was escaping comic books. Like for some godforsaken reason, you know how Superman's like, super manly. They decide to give him a mullet in the '90s, and like
Yep.
Dick Grayson had super long weird hair. I'm just like, God dang it, the '90s. I love '90s comics, but at the same time, I just read the stuff that happens in it. And I'm like,
nice
yeah,
comics.
'90s comics.
'90s is like considered the worst decade for comics, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. There's like some really good, interesting stuff in there, but it's surrounded by so much weird, not necessarily garbage, but totally garbage stuff that's happening that you're just like, huh. And I
Correct.
wonder why they went bankrupt in the 2000s. The 2000s were like the roughest period of time for like comics because like the movies were flopping and the comics were flopping.
Hmm.
And so the companies were just like, well, guess we'll have to die then. So Marvel started chopping off parts of its body and selling it to different studios.
Yep.
Whereas DC was always backed by Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers is just like, all we need is a good Batman movie. All we need is a good Batman movie. And they kept trying until they're like, we have a good Batman movie. And then they're like,
Basically.
all we need is a good Batman video game. All we need is a good Batman video game. And they gasped and like, we have a good Batman video game. And then both exploded into franchises. And then
Yep.
Batman blew back into popularity, and everyone's like, "Hey guys, remember Batman from like the 30s? He's cool again." And then yeah, because Batman's screen presence has ranged from children's show comedy character to hardcore serious. Everyone reads Batman. So
That's because
speaking of,
Batman's just
oh,
cool.
to loop this back into Final Fantasy discussions, the first Arkham game was done by Square.
Yes. Yes, it was.
So you can buy in Japan official Square anime statues of Batman.
Yep.
They're super expensive though, but
Well,
they're super detailed and big. But yeah,
I see.
but they took Square off the project for the other games, which was the right decision because there were some anime-ish things in the Arkham Asylum game, and it's just like, yeah. Like the Joker final boss and the IV second to last boss are so anime video game final bosses. It's like
Yeah. Uh. Yep. There's nothing I can really say about that.
so Batman's in the Final Fantasy universe. Stay woke.
Arkham Arkham Asylum is my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Could you
No,
imagine
no, no, no. No, Arkham Asylum is actually my favorite Assassin's Creed game.
same? Could you imagine Batman in Kingdom Hearts?
oh my.
It just meets Sora.
Here's the thing though.
He'd
It
be
would still work
for
because Batman, no matter what Batman is in, he's still cool.
That's true. Could you imagine like Goofy and Batman combos?
Like you could put Batman in an episode of DBS and everybody would lose their minds.
you know, Square's worked with DC for, uh, I think they're also doing like a Batman anime movie now that I think about it.
They are. It's Batman Ninja, and it's going to be Batman in feudal Japan.
Yeah.
I shared
Anyway,
that link every single place I could on the interwebs, and only like 3 people ever responded to me.
but, anyway, yeah. So Square's worked with DC for Batman, and if Disney buys, you know, uh, part of Fox, part of like Disney's, they can do an agreement with Fox to buy the properties of 21st Century Fox, which includes, well, Gotham is part of 21st Century Fox. So Batman and Kingdom Hearts win.
Batman is everywhere.
Batman's gonna show up in Infinity War. Stay woke.
You can't escape
And
justice. He's got
Batman,
like
Batman beats down Thanos. This is how it ends.
he's got like a mother box from Justice League, and he's ripped open a dimensional portal into Infinity War, and he does a justice kick right into Thanos' face.
Jesus Christ.
It's funny because if Batman was in Japan, like if he was the Japanese character, he'd just be Super Sentai, and it'd still work.
Has
Because
anybody ever seen the Japanese Spider-Man show?
I've not.
I've seen the Wolverine and the X-Men one,
Oh,
but I have not seen the Spider-Man
there's like
one.
a there's like a Spider-Man show from like I want to say like the 80s or 90s or maybe even the 70s. I don't know when, but it's old. But it's super Japanese. Like you could tell it's like Super Sentai just for Spider-Man. In fact, there's an episode where Spider-Man goes into a giant robot and he fights stuff in it with it.
The Japanese fascinations with putting powerful characters in powerful mech suits will always be beyond me. But you know,
It's wonderful though.
oh
I
man.
think the story isn't even like remotely close to Spider-Man's actual origins.
I mean, in like the Marvel anime are notoriously weird, so weird. Because like, all right, what makes the Marvel anime so weird is that they're like, so like all the X-Men and all those characters are like super anime but Americanized, right? And then all
Yeah.
the Japanese characters are actually just regularly drawn Japanese people. So every time you like watch that stuff, it's just like so jarring when you look at an X-Men member and then you just look at any other side character because they're just so Japanese. It's like, oh. Speaking of which, I need to finish the Final Fantasy 15 anime because I started that and I never finished it. Like, I think it's got like 6 episodes.
I still actually need to watch that.
I finished the first episode if I recall correctly. It's better if I just restart it, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's something else I need to watch because I'm pretty sure it's canon.
yeah, it is. They
Um,
released a movie and then an anime short series and then the game, and all of it is canon.
so I heard episode of Ignis is fantastic.
Good. I mean, Iggy, best boy, 10 out of 10. Excuse me,
Also,
Tyler, best boy, 10 out of 10.
um, I'm gonna say, yeah, but Ignis still has better hair, unfortunately for Kylo Ren.
I'll give it to you.
Like you don't have hair like Ignis, and it just stays in place without you having some serious dedication. Um, so
My
what's this?
favorite
Oh,
my favorite character in Final Fantasy 15 is the car.
are you parodying what I was saying about Hunter x Hunter?
Hey man,
Because I mean, the car is pretty cool. To be fair, get you places. Um, to anyone who doesn't understand, every time we watch Hunter x Hunter, I'll say something, and like it doesn't trigger Lucas, but Lucas is just like, "Oh my God." Um, so like for the first like 10 episodes, he's just like, "So who do you like so far?" And I was like, um, Leorio's bag. That bag is my favorite character, and the bag hasn't had any relevance in the story since, and I'm like, I'm sad. So,
rip the bag 2K17.
um, man, Hunter x Hunter is it feels so weird because I to to describe how I feel, it feels like sometimes I'm watching Dragon Ball, sometimes it feels like I'm watching Naruto, sometimes it feels like I'm watching Bleach, sometimes it feels like I'm watching Fullmetal Alchemist, and sometimes it feels like I'm watching One Piece, and I don't understand. Like I'm watching so many things at once because each arc changes the atmosphere, and I think that's pretty jarring. Um, it's less boring than I remember it, but that's probably because I have phone games now. Then again, I
um,
watched the original anime because there wasn't a remake when I read it, so I at least
the
watched.
the original anime is way slower paced.
Yeah, yeah. So
Like there are 10 episodes of filler in the 100 exams arc, and like why is there so much filler? It's the first arc.
uh, to uh, to tie this back in RPGs and stuff, uh, the Bleach main cast is actually an RPG group. Chad's a tank, Ichigo's a fighter, Uryu's an archer, and then Raheem is the healer. Stay woke. That's a
Is
fact.
it really though? Because they almost never fight together.
Uh, Uryu and Orihime fight together a lot.
That's fair.
Ichigo,
Has there
yeah,
has there ever been a time where they actually fought as a group, like all of them
uh,
together?
Uryu and Chad fought to a Roncar at the same time together. Um, Ichigo has only fought side by side with, like, you know what's really funny about this? He's only fought by side with Aizen and Renji. Like, and that was in the final arc because he fought Yawatch with, or Yuha Bach, my bad. He fought Yuha Bach with Aizen and Renji. And I guess Uryu if you count that.
I swear, it's not as bad as Fairy Tail and One Piece though, because like Fairy Tail and One Piece, they always do this thing where it's like the main cast fighting another group, and then they all have one-on-one battles every arc.
Well, you gotta remember that Bleach is just DBZ with swords, so it's just a bunch of people ganging up on one person.
Except except in One Piece's case, at least they do have certain people that they do fight together, like the entire Straw Hat crew. They usually lose. It's
Uh,
great.
they try to fight Kuma, and then he like wrecked their faces.
He smacked them. Wait, before I before I knew what happened, I was just saying like, oh, he smacked them out of existence. That's pretty. It's just like slap and then they're gone. And I'm like, dude, that's great.
Um,
But
let's see.
but yeah, I find it pretty weird that they've never fought in together, like as a whole group, in Bleach.
That's because they usually pair off in twos, and because I don't know. I don't think Kubo wants to draw four people fighting at once.
Kupo is too lazy to even draw backgrounds.
He likes one on ones a lot. He likes one on ones a lot, or 2v2s. But when it comes to final bosses, it turns into DBZ because like it's DBZ or it's good. So, like, not gonna lie, because that's totally what it turns into. Um, so I got like semi triggered when someone called Toshiro Ice Hile, and I was like, bruh, it was Team 4 Star said it, and I was like, low key triggered. I was like, but, 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 but what? I didn't watch it. I haven't seen enough of what should I call it? Yu Yu Hakusho to like debunk that statement. So
Okay, in the context of Ichigo's position and Yusuke's position, it's pretty similar in the sense that they're both like, well, I wouldn't exactly call Yusuke a spiritual being, but he basically hunts demons, and Ichigo does pretty much the same thing, and they do it for this other like organization in heaven, and yeah, so it's similar in that aspect. It's also similar in the fact that they're both just Dragon Ball. Stay woke.
wait, Dragon Ball Z too strong. I honestly wish that current shonen would stop doing the because like the current shonen problem I think is just like in general that we've had recently is just like man, it never feels like the good guys have to pay for anything anymore. Like I like in DBZ, yeah, they had to pay for stuff for like 10 seconds and then people came back. But at least they paid for stuff at the time. Cause
Yeah,
like cause like Goku dying in the Cell Saga was like Legasp. and then he couldn't come back, and that was like. Now we don't really get that because like uh shonen recently has become like, yeah, friendship, yeah, we're not losers because like um uh what the old archetype used to be like the main character was really strong, like Goku or Gon. They were just kind of dumb. Now the new archetype is kind of like this person's been outcast because they're a loser because of Naruto. So we can blame Naruto for all of Shonen's problems. That's it. That's the end of Anichat, folks.
There's, I think one of the biggest problems is that I don't feel as if the main characters struggle enough.
I
So
mean,
so when they win whatever battle they're currently in or whatever, it doesn't feel as impactful.
I mean,
Like if you compare it to like Dragon Ball Z, like when you looked at when Goku fought Frieza or whatever, or like when like the Z fighters like fought Frieza, uh, like Frieza was so powerful that there's no way they can win. And then when you saw Goku go Super Saiyan, it was like, oh my god, it just got real.
the
Where like now you don't really get that as much because people like they they're either like too strong from the start or they get power ups like right before
it's
the big battles or whatever.
it. There's like some of the problems are like just the fact that people. I think writers are too scared to show their characters getting styled on these days. Because like when Ichigo gets styled on, everyone's like, "Yo, this is why Bleach sucks," and I'm just like, "But, but aren't characters supposed to lose occasionally? Is that what's supposed to happen?" But to be fair, Ichigo does get fisted quite a bit in Bleach, like a lot. There's
You
a
want to
scene
know
where
what I think the
Yamcha.
problem with modern shonen is?
What'd you say?
You want to know what I think the problem with modern shonen is?
Sword Art Online and Fairy Tail have deep roots in what modern shonen has become.
It's not all just Garo.
Oh, Garo, Garo has like tries to take on seinen elements on top of being shonen though.
Yes.
That was the problem with Akame got Kill.
Yeah, but Garo is
It
not.
tried way too hard to be a seinen.
Rip.
Well,
Yeah,
the thing with
Garo.
Garo is it doesn't try too hard. It's just like, oh, we're gonna touch this, and it's like, great, perfect.
The one thing I wish they talked a little bit more about was the fact that Leon tried to commit suicide.
Yeah,
That
rather than
like,
just, oh, I can't kill myself because I'm too powerful. Well, this
yes,
sucks.
yeah, but the after state of that was a pretty good arc where we're seeing just Leon try to slowly recover.
Yep,
That was a good arc. I'm gonna be right back.
Garo is good, guys. Go watch Garo.
I have yet to watch it. I probably should.
It's good.
Probably start.
Like,
Uh,
your characters are manly as crap. It's really good.
yeah, I've heard good things about it. I believe my friend was telling me things about it. Well, he was asking me things about it, and I'm like, I haven't even watched the series. Why are you telling me these things? Then he's like, it's really good, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll watch it one day.
Yeah,
But I have a problem with like I'll put things like I'll say I want to watch something, and I do want to watch it, but then I'll like procrastinate on actually watching it. Like I started watching Recreators, which came out like last season or 2 seasons ago, something like that. And then like I got to episode 4 and I just stopped watching it. Not because I didn't like it, but just because I didn't bother keeping up with it.
well, I still haven't watched Madoka Magica.
Oh, why does it's good stuff. The movies recap it for you. so you don't have to actually watch the show.
Like,
Though,
low key, I just need to take like a day and watch it because it's not that much. Like what, 12 episodes, and then like 2 movies.
you only have to watch one of the movie because if you watch the series, you don't need to watch the first two.
Yeah, see, like it's not even that much.
He's been saying he's going to watch Madoka Magica since I first met him.
Yes, it's been like literally 4 years.
So, yeah.
I told Anthony I was gonna watch this anime called Golden Time,
Golden Time's famous, actually.
and he's like, it's really good. Watch it. And I was like, sure, I'll watch it. Like 5 years later, still haven't watched it. I'll get to it though.
It's a romantic comedy that, like, supposedly it gets too real for some people because they address some real problems that relationships have, and it just, like, messes with some people's minds. But apparently it's really hilarious.
Rip. Yeah. Then I still have to watch Recreators.
Oh, I need to finish Recreators. The problem with modern shonen is it's nisekoi.
Stop.
Nisekoi is a harem that was a Shonen Jump harem.
Oh,
It's not even a battle series. It's legitimately the title means false love. It's like too long didn't read. Dude made a bunch of childhood promises to like 12 different girls,
okay.
and all these girls start showing up out of the woodwork, being like, "Our childhood promise was that we'd get married," and he's like, "Yo, but you're not the one I want to smash, though." And then, long story short, he doesn't even end up smashing the one he wanted to smash.
It's
It sounds like Mistakes, the series.
It is.
it's not bad.
You say that. Are you sure?
It's not that bad. It's really not.
Oh my gosh. It just did so many things to disappoint me. So,
Like it gets progressively worse as it goes on.
Okay.
the first season's hilarious, but the second season is.
Cause the first season's pretty good. Like it's really entertaining, and then the second season is. I still enjoyed the second season, but it's not as good as the first season.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable if you're not expecting too much from it.
I got into that series because I had a Viz app that would let me trial test manga. So I trial tested Hunter x Hunter and Nisekoi. I'm actually now
Oh.
farther in Hunter x Hunter than I was in Nisekoi.
Rip.
Yep. So,
Speaking of mistakes, the first like 60 chapters of Hitman Reborn.
that's
Really?
the fact that it's 60 chapters surprises me that like you can get away with that. But then again, Shonen Jump is really nice when it wants
Shonen Jump was a lot more lenient back then than they are now.
That's because currently the way media works is if someone doesn't like something in like 3 chapters, they trash it, and it's like savage.
If Hitman Reborn came out like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it would have got canned.
Speaking of stuff that's not canned, that the firefighter manga that has like 130 chapters, and that's by the Soul Eater writer, is like going strong, but we have no announcement of the anime. It's got like 130 chapters. Usually stuff gets like anime at like 60.
You know Black Clover is already getting a PS4 game.
Why?
Black Clover disgusts me.
And I'm like, wait, the anime just came out, and it's not like it's doing ridiculous sales in Japan. So
no.
like,
I heard the manga is doing a lot better than the anime because the anime is garbage.
But it's actually sad that Black Clover has a PS4 game or is coming out with PS4 game, but like Bleach doesn't really have like a big PS4 game, and then Hunter x Hunter or Born, all these other series that are just better and sell more don't have games for the PS4, but then Black Clover like in like 5 episodes gets a PS4 game.
Uh,
That like blows my mind.
they think the Black Clover is going to be the next My Hero Academia. So
Yeah,
it just,
Shonen Jump is really pushing it. I don't know why. 'Cause I don't even think it's like it's popular, but I don't even think it's that popular.
why is there hentai in my stream? Um.
Shit,
Yeah.
I rather get like a Food Wars game.
Stop
You
right now. You stop right there.
Look, 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 like
What would
at
you
least
even
they
do in
have
that game?
at least they have girls, right?
They have like what one girl in Black Clover because that's how shonen works.
No, they have a couple of girls in Black Clover. They're just not. Their designs are just not as appealing because
So
Food Wars just has better art.
someone at Shonen Jump should just make a manga, and it's like about a bunch of just losers who are like who have superpowers, but they're all just losers, so they constantly get wrecked by the villains. They never win.
That sounds like a comedy series.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious. It just like parody all the shonen. Like they do the
The
speeches.
opposite of One Punch Man.
Yeah, they all
Always lose.
yeah they always just get wrecked in one hit, and then like
two
the side characters
montages
are
that
just
are like super duper hype, and then the villain just one shots him.
yeah
That does sound great, actually.
Yes.
like it I'm telling you, this is what Shonen Jump needs to do because
And
that would
the
actually
final chapter is when the main character actually wins.
yeah he wins a fight by tripping and then like he trips and then the trip causes him to gain momentum in his punch and his punch defeats the final villain because he tripped. He won by
Yeah.
He just
accident.
happens to hit the villain like it's one
Yeah.
weak spot.
Yes, he hits him. He's like, no, he hit me in my one weak point that I decided that no one could ever touch. Like, that's where my energy is at its weakest, and he just dies. And the series ends.
Why does that sound like Hercule the anime?
Hercule actually won his tournaments, though. It's because I don't understand some of the stuff because like Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha are just so strong for humans, and then it's just like no other human wants to study Ki. But like Master Shen, and what's his face? What's his name?
Tien has a dojo, so I'm pretty sure like all of his students are better than Hercule. I want to assume.
They are at the beginning stages of Ki. Also, Magic and Dragon Ball Z is broken, but they just don't address it.
Yeah, but having even basic knowledge of Ki still puts you like above peak human.
Yeah. Vidal's above peak human, but they won't do anything with her because she's a girl.
I'm pretty sure Hercule's above peak human though, technically,
He
because he like pulled like 18 buses.
is.
That's actually really impressive.
In DBZ, peak human's different than it is in real life.
He ripped like 4 textbooks in half.
In DBZ, Hercule is superhuman actually. Because like no other martial artist that's not like capable of using Ki can do that. So like yeah. So
Dragon Ball is so weird.
so guys, if D Grayman can get an anime after being on hiatus, Bleach can. I have hope.
And I hear a single thing you just said because you're really low on my end.
Oh no, I'm low on everyone's end. I said if D Grayman can get more anime, so can Bleach. I have hope.
Yeah.
So, before we end, because we gotta end soon, uh,
Yep.
me and Lucas were talking the other day about how the disrespect D Gray Man got, because in J Stars, they didn't put Alan Walker as a playable character, and I remember when that was announced, and I was salty for like 3 weeks. That's why. That's
It
one of the
doesn't
reasons.
make any sense.
D Gray Man was like one of the Shonen Jump's like top sellers, and they just didn't put Alan Walker as a playable character. They put him as a support character.
It like they have this one guy. I forgot his name. But he
They
has
put
like pink hair.
Mhm.
Saki something.
They put gag characters as playable characters.
Yeah. Well, I think Arale. I think you could excuse Arale because that was Toriyama's first work, and
Doctor Slump.
Toriyama is extremely uh influential when it comes to Shonen Jump.
That's because like Toriyama just bleeds money. Like Toriyama sneezes money.
And the
And
funny thing is, he can make money, and it doesn't matter what he writes. Like he could be like, "Oh, Goku's a Super Saiyan God 3 because I
Science.
don't know, he took some pills."
yeah, like Alex says, science, and the fanboys would just be like, and consume it like it's crack. And he just, and it's funny because Akira Toriyama hates some of the stuff that's written. He just flat out hates it, and he's just like, they're paying. So he doesn't say much. And I'm just like, yeah, the life of a writer, though.
He his net worth is like 45 million or something.
Uh,
I can believe that.
Yeah, I think he makes even more money than Oda. By
I can believe that too.
and Oda makes like 40 million a year or something. So
yeah, it's 45 now.
yeah.
But yeah,
Ma-
I thought
Manga writers make so much money, but they get the bigger manga writers make so much money, but they live like terrible lives. So it's like,
fun fact, Type Kubo lives in like the Hollywood equivalent, the Japanese Hollywood equivalent.
say that again.
I said Type Kubo lives in the Japanese equivalent of Hollywood, essentially.
I'm pretty sure Kubo takes money baths.
But yeah, Alex, it's around time to end any chat.
All right. So this has been Anichat. With me today, I have Rukin.
Xenoblade is my favorite Final Fantasy game.
And I have Gil.
Does The World Ends with You count as a Final Fantasy game?
Yes. Actually, probably not, but
For the meme, it does.
and yeah, I've been here too. So with that, peace.